And I'm recording this because I want to come back to this when everything works out. And I want to show you guys this. I want to show you guys the proof that God exists. He hears our prayers. Because I can't believe what just happened, guys. But I had to share this. Guys, God is real. This morning, after my son and my partner left, I decided to just pray, right? So what I usually do is when they leave, I stand at the balcony, right, on the window of the balcony, and I would just wave them goodbye and I'd pray for them, and also just have like a short morning prayer, because I always feel more connected to God when I'm in nature and when I pray in nature. I haven't been working for 13 weeks, right? So I was just praying to God, pouring my heart out, telling him that I just need him to do something for me to move things this week, because money's running out and I don't know what's gonna happen next month in terms of finances. I just pouring my heart out, guys. And after I was done praying, I said to God, if you can hear me, please at least give me a sign. You can hear me, I'm crying so much. I said to God, please give me a sign. If you can hear me and you heard my prayer, give me a sign. And I said to him, I'm going to test you right now. Show me that you hear me by bringing, even if it's one bird, to either sit on top of the railing on our balcony, or to either stand on the rooftop place. It didn't just send one bird. He literally sent the first bird to fly right in front of me. And that was enough for me, guys. That was enough. I didn't need anything more, because I said to him he could bring it close to me, or it could sit on the railing of the balcony or on the rooftop. The first bird flew right in front of me, guys, like so close to me. I started crying. And then the second one, two actually came and they sat on the rooftop. And one of them literally came and sat on the railing right in front of me and looked me right in the face. I just wanted to share that. And I'm recording this because I want to come back to this when everything works out. And I want to show you guys this. I want to show you guys the proof that God exists. He hears our prayers. He hears what we speak with our mouths. And when we seek him with all our heart and lean not on our own understanding, he comes through for us.
Not God leaving me small signs to show me that He is with me. So I wake up this morning, and as I'm standing on this window where I usually have my morning devotion and prayer, I find this feather. And this is the exact same window in the previous clip where I had an encounter with those two birds. I honestly felt like God was reminding me that He's with me, because this has never happened to me. Hey, you guys! Good morning, everybody. So it's currently morning on my side. Today is the 22nd of September 2025. It's a Monday morning, and I just finished taking a shower. I'm actually prepared for an interview. I literally have an interview in 30 minutes, and I decided to randomly start recording this video. So I assume that this is going to be part of a segment on a video that I will be posting about my unemployment journey. Unfortunately, I did not really think of recording each and every step of this journey, but I do have some receipts, and I'm going to share the majority of the things that I have gone through so far in this video, so that you guys are aware of how everything started and how I got here. On the 26th of April, I received a letter from my employer, from my previous company, that my contract was not going to be renewed and my last working day would be the 30th of May. So when I received the letter, I was not shocked, and I'm going to tell you why in a couple of minutes. But what I did feel was two things. The first thing I felt was I'm back here again. How am I back in this position again? You know? And I just started thinking about how me being in this position broke me last year. It really, really broke me. So the first thought was, I can't believe I'm back here again. And my second thought was that, what is happening? You know? So when I started working at the company, I was hired to take a position of someone who was going on pension. So there was a lot of pressure, especially because he's a man. So I obviously had to deliver based on what he was doing as a man, and also based on the fact that he was working at the company for over, I think, 35 years, if I'm not mistaken. So there was a lot of pressure on my side, but with the grace of God, I worked hard. Going forward, I realized that my job was actually very manual labor related. So I was like 80% on my feet and 20% behind the PC. There were times when I would get so burnt out, I would be exhausted because of my job. I would get sick a lot, but I still did the best that I could and I showed up the best that I could. Things started changing when companies started going through like financial problems. They started retrenching. The company itself was already very unstable. Like, I have never seen something like that in my entire working experience where people are constantly coming and going out of the company. Like every week, there was someone new being hired in the company. So for me, it was already something very unusual. It was new. It was something that I'm not used to because I'm used to working in companies where like one person would be hired every 3 months or every 1 year or every 6 months. So it was totally new for me. And I think that was the first realization because I'm a very observant person. I observed that and I realized that it seems like there is a lack of job stability in this company, or there is a lot of toxicity. So people come and they leave like very quickly. Then again, I had to be hopeful for my specific journey and my position and just trust that, you know what, God is going to carry me, He's going to keep me, especially being that one of my number one priorities for a job was job stability. I needed job stability. I was tired of working 1 year, 11 months, 10 months, 2 years in a job. I wanted a job I could settle in. So when I started working there, they told me that obviously if I perform, they would make me permanent. But also they told me that the whole 1 year contract thing is just a thing that they have as a company. And I only came to learn that this is something that happens like in the majority of companies in the Netherlands where you don't get permanency from the get go. It's so different from South Africa. You usually get like a 1 year contract, and then from there, you, depending on how they feel, because sometimes you can perform, but if they feel like, no, we want to recycle you, they will let you go. So that's what happened with me basically. So I observed the ins and outs of the company and I saw what was happening, but I was hopeful. Then, long story short, they started retrenching, and I think 15 people were retrenched. It was at that point, I think my eyebrows were raised, and I realized that something doesn't feel right, something is off. So moving forward, my colleague, we were 5 people in my department, right? Yeah, we were 5 people in my department. My closest colleague gets retrenched. That's when I knew that I'm next. I just knew it. Even before the signs God showed me, I just knew it. So prior to that, I should mention, I before my colleague gets retrenched, right, or loses his job, I I get a dream. And in this dream, I see that there is a girl hired in my department. but she's a black girl. So I'm confused. I'm like, why is the black girl being hired in my department? I'm in Dikona, I'm here. So that was the first sign for me that, okay, something is up. So I have this dream where this girl is being hired in our department, and in the stream, one of my other colleagues is complaining about two things, two problems that she has with me, right? And I don't understand even these problems that she's sharing. Like, it didn't make sense. It's just one of those things in the dream where a certain part you understand, and then a certain part you're like, what does this mean? So fast forward, my colleague, then my one of my closest colleagues gets retrenched, and then they obviously retrenched, I think, about 15 people. Then there's like a meeting with the entire company, and then they promise us that they done retrenching. That was the last group of people who were retrenched, so we can relax. But in my heart, something tells me that you next. My job was quite stressful. It was really stressful to a point where it started taking a toll on my health a lot. I was constantly sick. I was constantly um, off because of sickness or not being well. Let me tell you this. So then a new girl gets hired in my department. Oh, I laughed when this happened. I laughed. So a new girl gets hired in my department, but she's not black, she's a white girl. And it clicks that this is the dream that I had. So when my colleague gets retrenched, then this new girl gets hired in his position. So things change after that. The work environment and our department in general becomes toxic. Okay. Some work dynamics that I didn't expect. Basically, there was a lot of differences in characteristics and personalities that were causing a lot of clashes between everyone. Then I started realizing that this job is turning me into someone I'm not. It was there and then that I realized that I don't think I'm supposed to be here anymore. Like, it was so toxic, guys, to a point where I was dreading going to work. It was not the case before. I should mention this, that when I started that job, I was so at peace. I got along so well with my colleagues. We were so close, okay? Like, I know how to draw the line and distinguish between work friendships and basically the fact that I'm at work to work and I'm not there to make friends. But one thing about me, when I click with people, I will click with them and I will have a good work relationship with them. And that's what I had. I had a very good work relationship with my colleagues. We were like literally close, really nice. But then after my close colleague was retrenched, and then after the colleague who was going to go on pension left and the new girl was hired, there was just a lot that changed. I got triggered. I It made me realize a lot about myself, who I wanted to be and who I did not want to be. So, long story short, this was the second sign. This one day, I am standing next to my supervisor, and he's busy on his PC. I was asking him something, so he was checking it for me on his PC. Then an email comes, right? But it's in Dutch. Obviously, I am not fluent in Dutch, but trust me, I understand Dutch, okay? Especially like reading, because Dutch is quite similar to Afrikaans in terms of reading, so I can understand when I read it, right? So an email comes and it says CV for logistics person. And I'm just like, I wasn't born yesterday. My supervisor is in such a tough position because he can't really do anything, because if he tries to clear it, it's going to be obvious and it's going to be too suspicious. So he just lets the pop-up stay there, right? The email alert, basically. And from there onwards, I just know, and I could feel it in my spirit that my time was over and I would be let go. Then fast forward on the 26th of April 2025, I get a letter. I'm called into a meeting by my manager, and I get a letter to tell me that they won't be renewing my contract and the end of May would be my last day. I leave the company. It's bitter sad because I created some really great connections. But at the same time, there's a huge sense of relief because I was so strained physically by the job. I was constantly tired, exhausted, sick. So it was quite stressful to a certain extent. So I'm relieved because of that. But at the same time, the whole thing of now having to start looking for a new job kicks in. So I'm starting to stress about that now, you know? But I think my coping mechanism was that I've been here and it doesn't take long for me to get a job. That's what I say to myself because I've been unemployed before. I'd be unemployed for just a month or 2 months, a couple of weeks. I think the longest that I was unemployed was when I was going through the transitional process of moving from South Africa to the Netherlands. But I was at peace during that unemployment because it wasn't really a thing of I had no choice, but I had to resign from my job because I was preparing to move to the Netherlands and I had financial stability because I had payouts from my money that we had saved, money that we were receiving through the stuff that we were selling. So it wasn't like I was under pressure financially. So that was the longest time I was unemployed, but I was in a financially stable position. Now, with this unemployment, I was optimistic because I was like, ah, man, I'm going to get a job. I don't struggle to get a job. It usually just takes me a couple of months or a couple of weeks, or maybe 1 or 2 months at most. But little did I anticipate the humility that God was going to take me through, guys. Oh my goodness. You guys, I just finished with my interview. Hayi ke sale ndaqala uyibona into excited nge-interview. Njani sana? Ndingaqeshwa noqeshwa. You guys, oh my goodness. That interview was so good. I don't even know if this is normal for someone to say an interview was good. I'm so excited. I, I've got so much to say. But the first thing I want to say is that this was the best interview that I have ever had in my entire career life. Okay, this was the best interview. And yeah, guys, I feel like the job is mine. I don't know why I'm crying. You know that feeling when you just can feel that this is exactly what I've been waiting for this whole time. That's exactly how I feel right now. Everything about this job, I'm not saying that it's perfect. It's probably going to have challenges of its own. But everything about this job seems to just fit the desires that I had. And I haven't even found out about the salary as yet, Kesan. But I don't know. I just had this feeling that was telling me that the job is yours. Maybe it's the Holy Spirit, unless, but I felt like I found my people. I felt like I found my new work home. Oh, I hate crying on camera. I told myself that I'm not going to cry. It went very well, guys. As I said, it was one of the best interviews that I've ever been in and that I've ever had. I'm just waiting for them to now make a decision, basically, to get back to me and let me know how things go. So yeah, that's where we are at now. But I just want to carry on with the video and just pick up where I left off. So I was just saying how I didn't anticipate how the Lord was going to humble me in this unemployment. So we are currently, today is let me quickly check. So today is officially week 19 of me being unemployed. And I did not anticipate at all that I would be unemployed up until this time. You know, yeah, I did not anticipate. So after the entire thing of me being retrenched happened, I left. Obviously, I took the 3 weeks leave, hoping that I would get a job soon. Long story short, guys, I went through the most. So I remember coming across a video on TikTok. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Oh, I don't want to cry.
I remember coming across a video on TikTok explaining how there are 5 stages of unemployment. The first stage is when you're enthusiastic, you're excited, you're optimistic, you're applying for your dream jobs. And then the next stage is when you've gone for interviews but nothing has come to fruition, and your mood starts going down, so you begin to have less enthusiasm, you're not as confident as you were. And then the third stage is when the interviews start becoming less and less, you start becoming demotivated. You're at a point now where you're not just only applying for your dream jobs and the jobs that you want to work for or that you desire, but you start leveling down, applying for positions that are at a more, lower level than what you wanted. And then the fourth stage is a stage where you are just at a point where you've gone for interviews, nothing has become successful. You are so downcast, you are despairing, you are losing hope, and at this point you're just applying for any job. You just want to get a job so that you can just work, so that you can just have employment, so that you can just bring money into the house. And the last stage is the stage where you just give up, you stop applying, you don't even wake up from bed, you just become depressed, you start doubting God and questioning God. It's like, God, why am I here again? And I went through all the 5 stages, guys. I went from being so enthusiastic to just getting to a point where I was just like, what's the point? What's the point? Because I'm putting in the work. Guys, I changed my CV, I think probably 4 times, because I was like, okay, maybe my CV is the problem. Then I changed my LinkedIn profile and amended a few things on it because I was like, okay, maybe it's my LinkedIn profile that is not attractive enough. It's not drawing people. You know, I would constantly make changes, do things that I thought, okay, maybe were hindering me from getting a job. And I even started learning Dutch because I was like, okay, it's pointless for me to complain about the fact that the jobs that I'm applying for, some of them they require you to speak Dutch, but I'm not doing anything to learn the language. Yes, I've been learning on YouTube at my own pace and through Duolingo, but I decided to buy a book that was going to help me learn Dutch in like 3 months. But obviously, I was planning to do it in like a month or two. So I was like, okay, let me learn Dutch and at least do something about this thing that is hindering me. So I started learning Dutch. And the interview that I just went to now doesn't really require Dutch. And it's been one of my prayers because, in as much as I do want to learn Dutch for my child to be able to communicate and know the language of the country I'm living in, but I didn't want to feel pressured to know the language or lose a job because of the language, because I lost so many jobs. Like, I would get a call, they would be interested in me, they would want to take me for an interview, but then after figuring out that my Dutch is not good, I'm not fluent, they would just cancel there and then. Oh, it broke me, guys. So I went through all the levels of unemployment, and it even got to a point whereby where I was like, God, at this point, I'm willing to do anything. And I started applying at supermarkets so that I could just get a job. And after I just finished with this interview, I could feel God saying to me that I wanted to see your faith. Guys, this season taught me faith. Yo. I was saying to one of my friends that I didn't think I would cry. Actually, sorry, I'm saying I didn't think I would cry in this video, but I was saying to one of my friends that Natasha, who was unemployed when I lost my job at Tesla, is not the same Natasha now. Guys, I cried, and I think you guys saw, right, on that video. I was transparent, I was authentic. That was literally how I was feeling. But I'm telling you, I did not cry because of losing my job at the company I worked for. I did not cry because of that, guys. I don't even want to lie. There's not even one moment where I cried for that job. The one at Tesla, I cried for that job. Um, but the Natasha then was crying because I idolized that job. And I'm going to be sharing everything in a different video where I talk about
idolism and all of that. But this time I didn't cry because I lost my job. I never even cried the day I left. Nothing, guys. I was so happy actually. I'm going to show you guys a picture of my last day at my previous job. I was so, so, so happy. I think I was just excited to also just be at home, rest, spend time reading the word, work on my YouTube channel. And I was just excited to work on other projects, right? So I think the only thing that made me cry so much during this season was not knowing, not knowing what God is doing, not knowing where I'm going, not knowing if it's going to work out. And more than anything, being tired. I was so tired of being in this position all the time. This position of being unemployed, this position of being without a job, this position of, you know, not having job stability. Yo, guys, not having job stability, it hurt me because we have, yo, guys, like our goals have been delayed year after year after year because of job instability. And I remember praying to God this one day and saying, God, when do I get to live in my dreams? I know that everything that we have on this earth, we will die and leave it here. And our soul person, is more important than our flesh person, right? But God tells us in His Word that we will see His goodness in the land of the living. And, I know that God would never bring us on this earth to just have a miserable fleshly experience, a miserable body experience, right? So, or rather, a miserable human experience. Would pray to God and say, God, I know that my spirit life is more important, but I also want to get to live in my desires. I also want to, see my goals and my dreams come to life, while I'm still on this earth. And every time we try to plan things, we would have plans to do this, buy that, and it would just delay, guys. Yo, to a point where I sometimes used to feel like the devil is just working overtime, honestly speaking. I would honestly feel like the devil is working overtime. So it really hurt, guys. So I would go for interviews, guys. I would go for interviews, but the amount of rejections that I received, yo, Sada. Wow, yo, I would receive rejection after rejection after rejection after rejection. And I remember saying to a friend of mine that I am so convinced that the whole entire season and unemployment dynamic and theory is honestly a humiliation ritual. You can't tell me otherwise. Because sometimes I don't think like these recruiters understand the things that we go through, when you're looking for a job. Like when they don't get back to you, they don't realize that you stay in a state of confusion because now you don't know whether you should be hopeful that something will come or Kanya, you should just give up because maybe it didn't go well. It was hard. It was really, really painful. Um, I don't even know why I'm saying it was because I haven't gotten a job yet. But maybe the spirit is now speaking through me, Kwana, because maybe the spirit knows that it's a done deal, with this interview that I've gone to. But yeah, anyways, so that's what happened. So during that time, I decided that, you know what, if the whole 9 to 5 is not for me anymore, let me try and see what else it is that I can do. Guys, when I tell you that I hustled, I need you to believe me. So my partner and I decided to open a Shopify store. We did extensive research, guys, about this whole drop shipping thing. Like we were watching videos until 12 o'clock at night, researching. Excuse me. We ended up creating a, I don't know why there are always bees on my window every time when I'm recording. There's another bee again. Anyways, so we researched, we created a Shopify store where we were gonna basically do drop shipping, guys. And our store was so beautiful, guys. It was perfect. Guys, we worked so hard adding products to our store, researching about, the analytics of products, what products are doing good, what products are not doing good. Guys, we hustled. And unfortunately, that was not successful. So we had to now look at something else. And then my partner suggested that I should start teaching on Udemy, which is the platform that he teaches on. And maybe I could take the passion that I have for personal development and create courses based on things that I've learned, about different things, habits, goals, emotional intelligence, all of that. So I was like, okay, that's a great idea. This works perfectly because I'm passionate about teaching, right? I enjoy sharing my experiences and teaching, and I'm also passionate about self development and personal development. So I started teaching on Udemy. I did my research on topics to teach about. I gathered all the information I've learned through different sources, started a course, uploaded the course. No one buys the course. yeah.
Are you not ashamed of yourself? Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
I remember asking God, I'm like, are you really, really making a fool out of me? Kubona undenza intlekisa, And I think there's no other language that will make sense than saying it in Xhosa. But I really felt like uThixo undenza intlekisa, he's making me a laughing stock. And I remember saying to God, God, I don't know what else, to do. I don't know what else to do because I've tried the drop shipping thing. It didn't work. I've now tried this Udemy thing and no one is buying my course. And I remember my partner encouraging me that, advertise your course, post it on LinkedIn, advertise it on social media platforms. And I would do it, guys, but no one would be interested. And that's when the depression started kicking in. And guys, God is so intentional and God is such a master planner. Guys, when I tell you that God is strategic, I need you to believe me. So when I lost my job at my previous company, it was in May, right? And in the Netherlands, there's something called vakantiegeld. So it's basically the company takes a certain percentage from your salary and saves it for you. I think it's 8% if I'm not mistaken. And then you get this money in May of a specific year. Every year you get this money in May. So if you've worked at the company for like a year, you get this money in May. So when I lost my job in May, we were fortunate to get our vakantiegeld. So that money and the money that we had saved helped us to survive for a couple of months. I think it's the whole concept of having to look at the reality that you are facing and look at your faith. Sometimes it's hard to be faithful when your reality is saying something different. I just had to keep on praying. I had to keep on hoping. And what kept me going was watching sermons, watching videos that motivated me, reading the word, guys, and just sticking close to God no matter how tough it is. The devil really tried to take me out, guys. I don't want to lie. And there was a point where I wanted to give up because I was just like, what's the point of living? What's the point of me pushing and pushing and trying and, doing all these things and nothing is helping? I'm trying so many side hustles, nothing is working out. And I remember at some point in time saying to God that you are really making me look like a fool, because here am I talking about his goodness and how great he is, and how God is so faithful. Whereas I myself am battling with having faith, and I'm talking about how God is good, but things were not going good for me in my personal life. So I was in that season where the devil was trying so hard to play with my mind because my faith was not matching up with my reality. And it was having to face that made things so hard and made me actually even get to a point where I almost gave up on God. In hindsight, I realized that this season had to happen. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for this season. Guys, I was saying to my partner the other day when we were talking, and I was saying to him that This unemployment was tough. It was tough because it affected us financially. And this is what I learned about this unemployment, that this unemployment was painful for me because for the first time in my entire unemployment life, I didn't know where I would get the money to just pay for rent, to buy groceries. Because I shared in the previous segments that in my previous unemployments, it was a situation where I knew at least Uguti, I've got some money to sustain me, for months. And I didn't have to stress about finances because even though I had money, I would like get a job within a month or within 2 months. But this time, even the money I had saved ran out, the money I had received from work ran out. So getting to that point made me realize, this unemployment is different. And the biggest lesson that I realized that God wanted me to learn in this lesson was to strengthen my faith. There's a verse that I really, really love that I posted on my WhatsApp status. I'm going to try and find that picture that I posted and put it up somewhere here to get my Bible, and I am reading from James chapter 1, verse 2 till 4. And it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." And I remember translating it on my WhatsApp story that the part that stood out for me, or how God translated this verse to me in my mind through the Spirit, was that when we face challenges, trials, and tribulations, our faith is being strengthened. And when your faith is strengthened, you persevere. And if you persevere, you will be mature and complete, not lacking anything. That really stood out for me. And this verse, guys, this verse was the verse that kept me going. I would just constantly remind myself that, these trials that I'm going through, these challenges that I'm going through, they're strengthening my faith. And when my faith is strengthened, I will persevere in any circumstance. And if I persevere, I'll be complete and mature, and I will not lack anything. Imagine not lacking anything because you stood the test of time, you persevered through trials, and your faith was strengthened. So, this is the verse that kept me going. One thing I know for sure is that this season needed to happen because my faith has been strengthened. I think for the first time in my 18 years of being a Christian, I can fully say this gomenes fuba. I can fully say with my chest that God is real, God exists, and there is nothing too hard for God. I can fully say, even when I'm going through fire, I can say, God is good, God is here, that God will make a way. Despite how bad it looks like, I am able to have faith to speak life despite anything that is happening. So a lot of things that happened in this season made me face myself. They made me ask myself questions that I had never asked myself. A lot of things that happened at my previous workplace sparked a lot of conversations, questions about myself. And I, for the first time, had to ask myself difficult questions. Is the person that you are now beneficial for who you want to be in the future? So this season, guys, was not a waste of time. I was laughing the other day when I woke up and I was like, God was not going to bring that job. He was not going to bring my job to me until I healed and went through all the necessary work that I went through. Guys, God was refining me. He was purifying me. He took me through the fire. Guys, he pruned me. He molded me. He was shaping me honestly into the person that I am today. I can fully say with confidence that I am more healed today because of this past 4 months. I am at a better place. My My faith is the strongest it's ever been in my life. And I'm so grateful to God that even when I had dark moments, moments of depression, moments when I wanted to give up and just quit everything, I didn't. I didn't let or allow the devil, to have the last say. I fought, guys. When I tell you that Ndiluile, I really, really fought, guys. There's a song that I really love that says, I should have lost my mind, but you came up right on time. You carried me through the ages, all the way onto the other side. And when pain tried to take my joy, that's when I felt you more. Yo, guys. It says, you kept my heart alive. I didn't know if I'd survive. Guys, I'm a terrible singer. Sorry, but I just want to share. I think the name of the song is What a God, if I'm not mistaken. But that song carried me and many other songs. I fought, guys. I remember saying to a friend of mine, I literally feel like I am in spiritual warfare. I can literally feel the enemy and the Lord fighting for my soul, and I almost gave up. I almost gave in. But guys, God being God, He made sure that ndingangami, point of this video is to encourage someone out there that I know it's not easy. It's hard. You feel like giving up. You feel like ending it all. Like you don't even have any hope. Please try one more time because I know how it feels to just feel like, you know what? In fact, I'm done. So I just want to encourage someone to just try one more time. Like, just try one more time. Get up one more time. There's something I recently came across that really helped me, and it says if there's still life, there's still hope. So it means if you are still waking up every morning, that means there's still hope. God is not done with you. So I don't know where I'm going. I'm actually laughing at how I'm speaking in this video. I'm speaking in a manner as though I have already received a job, and I guess I'm speaking things to life. I'm speaking things by faith, and I don't know where I'm going to go. I really don't know what's going to happen next or where I'm going to be next, but I have a feeling that the next clip after this will be some really, really good news, and I will definitely share that with you guys. But yeah, guys, this is where I am. This is what I've gone through. This is what has happened in my life, and I will update you guys in the next clip of what happens next. So I just wanted to mention something that I forgot to mention in the previous clips. I think another lesson that I learned in this season was depending on God and not depending on anyone else. So during this season, I stopped, asking God, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I going through all of this? What is this trying to teach me, that saying that says don't just go through what you're going through, but also grow through what you're going through. So I started asking God to just show me what He's trying to teach me. So one of the lessons was that He wanted to strengthen my faith because my faith was not strong, and there were times where I would doubt Him, basically. And the other biggest lesson that God revealed to me was that He was teaching me to depend on Him and no one else. Because for the first time in my unemployment life or journey, I didn't know how I was going to make ends meet. The situation I was in was now affecting other areas of my life. And I remember, guys, another thing that this season taught me, oh, I don't want to cry. Come on now. I'm okay. Another thing that the season taught me was who my people are. Guys, I felt so alone during this season. Like,
People that I thought would be there for me were not there for me. Family, friends who I thought were going to be there for me were not there for me. It hurt me. It broke me so much. And I remember saying, I was so angry, man, because I was just like, when other people are in need, whether friends or family, I go all out, when they're going through stuff, like I'm that one person that they can count on. I'm there, kubone, showing my support in various ways. And I felt like when I was going through a tough time, I was all alone. And at first, it hurt me, and it really made me question so many of my relationships. But then God revealed to me that no, I silenced these people for a reason, because I needed you to come out of this season with my name on the top. Ungathi uncedwe ngubani bani, wancedwa ngubani bani. Yes, these people helping you would be good, but I need you now to say God was my only source of strength, And that just blew my mind, that God showed me that he wants to take the entire credit for that season, or for this season, right? I don't know why I keep on saying that season as if I'm already out of that season. But yeah, anyways, so that was one of the things that God revealed to me, that he wanted to take the entire credit. He wanted to teach me to depend on him and him only, not on my partner, not on my friends, not on my family, not on anyone else, but just him. And I remember at some point I stopped going on social media. I avoided social media because I just felt so depressed after I would go on social media, seeing people, in the life that you desire, seeing people, how can I put it? Like ubona bantu nje, like seeing things happening for people, and they're not happening for you. And it's not to say I was jealous or envious of other people. No, I wasn't, guys. But I think it was just that realization of things are happening for other people, but they're not happening for me. So it was just draining for me mentally, that every time I would go on social media, it was just a reminder of how stuck I am. So I decided to just take a break. And I remember going on Pinterest and I came across this quote that said, whenever you feel like things are happening for other people and they're not happening for you, just always remember that the same God who did it for them is the same God who can do it for you. And just as God has blessed you before in the previous years, the same God who was there for you is now the same God who's there for them. The book Bamboozled by Jesus by Yvonne Orji, if I'm not mistaken, she said something so powerful. She said, whenever you find yourself being envious or jealous of someone else, you must always remind yourself that if you are envious or jealous of their success, you must also be envious and jealous of their failures. Guys. Oh my gosh. We got the job. We got the job. God is so good, guys. God is so good. I think I'm still in disbelief.